Hey, hope you're having an amazing day. In today's video, this video will be the ultimate guide to booking sales calls while using Video Sales Letter. This video will be everything that you need to know. And I use this exact same strategy to book 20 plus meetings every single week in a bunch of different niches for my own agency called Salesway.io, my own lead generation agency. And essentially what you'll be learning in today's video is literally how to sell anything with a simple video. So jumping right into it, what will we be covering today, right? So we will be covering 4 things in today's video. The first is what exactly is an insight-based VSL and what is its purpose? The second thing is how does all of this work? The third thing is key points to remember. And finally, the fourth thing is how do you actually create an effective VSL? Those will be the 4 things that we will be covering in today's video. So the first thing is who am I? So I'm Jimmy Fung. I'm a 23-year-old from Canada, and I run my own lead generation agency called Salesway.io. I've been running this business for the last 1.5 years, the last year and a half, and I have generated over $500,000 in revenue for my own business. While doing this, I have worked with 50 plus B2B clients in just a wide variety of industries and have collectively booked over 1,000 plus sales calls while sending over 1 million plus cold emails in the process. I'm also the founder of InboxLab.io. It's a consulting business where up till now, I have worked with 80 plus people, helping them start and build their own lead generation agencies. And the only reason I share this with you is kind of just to explain that the stuff that I'm sharing with you today, the strategies, not only have they worked for myself, but they have also worked for a bunch of other people who have followed the exact same strategies that I'm sharing, right? If they're following the instructions and they're implementing it and taking action, then it work for them and it will also work for you. But countless others have, again, right, they have also replicated these same strategies and have found success doing this. So like everyone else, when I first started my own lead generation agency a year and a half ago, I didn't have a clue in the world. I didn't have any case studies. I didn't have any testimonials, and I kind of just trialed and errored my way forward, right? So hopefully in this video, it kind of just shortcuts that entire process of everything I've learned over the last year and a half. So jumping right into it then, what exactly is an insight-based VSL and what is its purpose? So before we jump into what it is, let's first understand what a video sales letter is fundamentally, right? So I use ChatGPT and you can pause this video, but I'm just gonna read over this to you really quickly. A VSL, video sales letter, is a marketing tool that combines the persuasive elements of a traditional written sales letter with the engaging and dynamic qualities of video content. It is designed to convert viewers into customers by presenting a compelling message which outlines the benefits of a product or benefits of a service, addressing potential objections, and including a clear call to action. So it does a really great job explaining what a VSL is. Here are kind of the key components of the VSL. So the hook, the intro, problem solutions, benefits and features, social proof, overcoming common objections, a call to action, and some level of scarcity and urgency, right? So again, you can pause this video right now and read through this yourself, but these are kind of the key components of a VSL and kind of what a VSL is. So in summary, a VSL is a video which is designed to help you sell your product or help you sell your service. And using a specific framework, using the right strategies done the right way, a VSL will accomplish really a couple of things. The first is it will warm up and nurture your leads prior to your actual sales conversation, prior to your actual sales call. The second thing is it will educate leads on what your service is, the general process that you will take them through, and how you can help them. The third one it will overcome common initial objections and common hesitations that people might have about your service or your product. The fourth thing is it will showcase your credibility, showcase your expertise, and position yourself as someone of authority in this very specific matter. And the fifth thing is it will lead prospects to a next step. It will tell them a very clear next step. What is the call to action? Where will you go from here? So now that we understand what the goal of a VSL is, how does this relate to you and to your own cold email campaigns? If you're running your own lead generation agency and you are trying to pitch your own service or you're helping your client pitch their service using cold emails, how does this relate to you? So the first thing to understand is that cold emails is only a specific channel and its entire purpose is to generate leads and to generate traffic onto your business, right? Generate attention and get eyeballs onto your business and what you sell and all of that stuff. However, not all traffic is created equal, right? Obviously, there's a lot of people who generate leads, who generate attention using stuff like ads, posting organic content, cold DMs, cold LinkedIn, cold emails. Cold emails is only one specific channel, and the type of leads that you will generate from each of these other channels is not necessarily the same as the type of leads that you're going to generate from cold emails. That's just how it works. And I put together this chart to better explain, right? So at the bottom, if we look at this pyramid and we look at the bottom is a complete stranger. This is literally no different than you going onto your street right now and approaching a random person, right? That's a complete stranger. That's the same as the people you are reaching out to over email. And at the top of the pyramid is a customer or client. So someone who decided to pay you thousands of dollars for your service or for your client's service. So how do we take someone from a complete stranger to a paying customer and paying client? And obviously there's 3 different tiers you got to take them through. So obviously when you first reach out to a complete stranger, they are what is called cold traffic. It is just random people who you reach out to. You have zero idea if they have any intent whatsoever, and they just don't know you. The middle is, I left it blank, but right at the top is what is called warm traffic. So warm traffic are the people that are the easiest to sell to, people who will very likely convert to a paying customer and paying client. That's warm traffic. And most people, when they're running ads, most of the traffic is either in the yellow, so the middle between cold and warm, so not necessarily warm, but not necessarily cold, or they are warm traffic. So a lot of organic leads. So if you're posting content on social media, on your YouTube, on your LinkedIn page, and you're booking sales calls from that, those people is warm traffic because they found you and they trust you. But if you're just reaching out to people over cold email or cold DMs or cold call, that is the definition of a cold traffic. So what a VSL does is it slowly takes someone who starts as a cold traffic, it warms them a little bit, it turns them into warm traffic, and then eventually it's designed to turn them into a paying customer and paying clients. So that's what the VSL is. So when you're sending cold emails, again, right, I kind of just went over this, but what you're doing is you're approaching random people online and seeing if they have interest in what you offer. Essentially, what you're doing is the equivalent of approaching 1,000 random people on the street and seeing if any of them are thirsty. And if they are, then you happen to have a water bottle, which you can help them. However, what will happen is that even if people are actually thirsty, like the 1,000 people you approach on the street, even if they are thirsty, they might not take you up on your offer and buy the water from you. Because the reason why they might not buy it from you is because they might be hesitant that maybe you put something in the water, or maybe you opened it before, or maybe it's dirty water, whatever the case is. They just simply don't trust you. And as a result, even though they have this problem, they're still not really willing to pay you for the solution. Now, the term for why this is happening is because they don't know you and they also do not trust you. And the exact same thing is happening when you're sending cold emails to a complete random stranger on the internet. So even if people do have a problem which your service can solve, they might not take you up on your offer simply because they just don't know who you are and they don't trust you. So if you're selling lead generation as a service, you're selling cold emails as a service, you know that most business owners, they have a problem with generating leads. That's a common problem. That's just a fact. But most business owners won't take you up on that offer because they just simply don't trust you. So what is our solution? Well, the solution to this problem is by leveraging something called an insight-based VSL. And if you do this process the right way, what will happen is your prospects will trust you. Your prospects will feel like that they know you. Your prospects will see you now as an expert and a person of authority, kind of like a subject matter expert, really. You will no longer be just another random person on the internet who reached out to them, who emailed them. Your prospects will understand your solution and how it can help your prospects solve their very specific problem. Your prospects will be pre-sold prior to the sales call, and in a way, they're just ready to move forward. Your prospects will jump onto the sales call asking logistical-based questions as opposed to you feeling like you just have to aggressively sell them. And essentially, your entire sales process will just be 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times easier. And the reason why the insight-based VSL works so well is because you are also giving your prospects value first before asking for something back. So you're giving your prospects, essentially, you're giving them all the sauce, right? Because you have to understand that prospects, that people, they pay to work with you, not because you have some unique knowledge that they can't find online or that they can't learn on their own, right? So I work with a lot of people, and a lot of people, they tell me, Jimmy, I don't really want to share all the secrets. I kind of want to gatekeep it, right? But that is not a good idea, because that's not the reason why people will pay to work with you. It's not because they don't know how to do it, but rather prospects are paying for implementation. Prospects pay to work with you because you're the expert and you can implement this entire process without any hiccups. You can save them time, like literal time that will take them to build out this entire thing by themselves. You can save them the opportunity cost of time. So if they try to do this on their own, it might take them 6 months to get results. Versus if they pay to work with you, they might get results instantly, or they might get results in 2 months or 3 months, as opposed to taking half a year. They're also paying for proximity to work with an expert. So now a really good example that I like to use is my own consulting business, inboxlab.io. So I obviously make a lot of YouTube videos teaching people everything that I know about lead generation, about building a lead generation agency, how to start the business, and all of that stuff. And I give all of that information away for free on my YouTube. But there's also a bunch of people who are paying to work with me as part of the consultation program. And it's not necessarily because they can't figure it all out on their own, right? That could be a reason, but that's not always the reason, right? But rather, people are paying for implementation to work with me, where they're working with someone who has gotten the results they're looking for. They're paying to work with someone who is running their own lead generation agency and making money doing so. That's kind of what they're paying for, proximity to me, right? An expert at this very specific topic surrounding building a successful and profiting lead generation agency. And people are paying so that they aren't wasting a year of their time, because they could go and try to do all of this stuff on their own. And what will happen is they will very likely not get results. They will very likely not make a lot of money, if they make money, and they might go half a year or a year without profiting at all, right? But if they work with me, they can accelerate that entire process, because the problems that they will get stuck on, they now have someone to run over it with them, give them guidance, give them clarity on what their next steps is, onto what works and what doesn't. So those are the reasons why people pay to work with me, as an example. So similarly, the info to succeed is all there. But as people do it themselves and they realize that it's just way harder than it seems, and they run into a bunch of issues along the way, they kind of just want to work with me. So they essentially sidestep and skip that entire process of trialing and error and wasting months, if not years, of their time that they could have just been making money had they decided to work with me, or maybe worked with another expert instead. So a similar process applies with your own agency or with your own business, right? You have to understand that people are not paying for information. People are paying for implementation and guaranteed results without wasting unnecessary time. So that's why when you're creating this insight-based VSL, it's very important that you share actual valuable insights. If you're not sharing valuable stuff, this process will not work. If you're gatekeeping or you are talking about things at a super high level, this process will not work for you. So how does it all work? So to explain how this process actually works, we first want to understand how most people do cold emails, and how most people online, all the other gurus, how they teach cold emails. So the old way is to send a cold email by emailing random people online. You're pitching your service as a solution to a potential problem that recipients might have. The recipients do not know you, and they also do not trust you. And what you're doing as a call to action is you're asking to set up a time to chat if they're interested. So let's assume that people take you up on your offer and book that sales call. Now, obviously, this conversion rate will be really, really low, extremely low, because you're asking just random people to give 30 minutes of the day, an hour of the day, to talk to a random person who will sell them, right? People aren't stupid. They know it's a sales call. So your conversion rate will be really low, but let's assume you get people on a sales call. What will happen is you will have really low closing rate because people just don't trust you. You will feel like you are aggressively persuading people, pitching people, or convincing people. The prospects will always ask you for case studies and proof, right? They will always ask you for case studies and proof because they just simply don't trust you and they don't believe that what you have works. Prospects will hit you with literally every objection under the sun. Oh, I need to think about it. I want to do this in a little bit. I got to talk to this person. I got to talk to that person. They will hit you with every objection under the sun. And prospects may jump onto a sales call and they're just unsure what you do. So they'll jump onto a sales call with you and kind of be like, Jimmy, what do you do? I have no clue how you can help me. right? That's what people will say to you. And I know this because when I was first starting my own lead generation agency, I didn't use a VSL and I was just asking for people to book a call right away, literally the way that people teach it. And these were the exact same things that I experienced when I was first building my business until I learned about the insight-based VSL and I was just trying it and it kind of just worked. So what is the new way? So the new way is you're still cold emailing, you're still emailing random people online. You're pitching your service as a solution to problems that recipients might have. So the exact same thing. The recipients still do not know you. They still do not trust you. But instead of asking for time on the calendar, you're asking to send them a valuable resource, in this case, a video, where you are sharing a unique insight about the solution and asking if they want to see it. So it's a very no-brainer. People are struggling to get sales calls and you approach them and say, hey, I have a solution that will help you fix the problem of not getting sales calls. I put together a quick video. Do you want to see it? A lot of people, they'll say yes, because it's kind of a no-brainer. You're not really asking for anything. You're asking for permission to give them value. So once people say yes, you're going to send them the VSL, the video, right? This is a video which outlines your service and explains how it solves a problem that prospects might have. Your focus is providing new insights and new value to prospects, and prospects will now see you as an expert since you are providing new insights to them on the problem. Prospects will understand how your service can help them, and done right, you are no longer just another random person on the internet who just reached out to them. And let's say people see the value of your service because you're explaining it in the video, they will then book a sales call with you. And once they're on that sales call, you will experience significantly higher closing rate. You will now not feel like that you are just actively persuading people, convincing people. You are really just answering logistical based questions, right? You know, the prospects, what I found is they're generally nicer to you since they personally feel like that. They just know you. They know what you're about and they trust you since you're now the expert and a subject matter expert. Prospects will, in a way, already be pre-sold on your service and they're on that sales call to ask you a few clarifying questions. So stuff like, how much does this cost? How much do I need? How quick will you get results? What are your timelines? Stuff like that. Logistical based questions as opposed to uncertainty that the process works. Prospects will also jump onto a sales call with a very decent understanding as to your service, how you can help them, and the specific process you will take them, right? So that's kind of the new benefits of the new way. Again, I started with just pitching people on a sales call, and then I added in this insight-based VSL, and these were all the benefits that I personally experienced. So I'm talking about this from experience. It's not theoretical. This is the truth. So some key points to remember. So to keep a long story short, what you're doing is you're sending cold emails to your target audience. You're still talking about your offer, your solution, all of that stuff. But rather than asking for a call as your call to action, we're now telling prospects that we put together a resource, we put together a video, which runs over exactly how our service can help them. And once prospects reply back saying that they want to see that resource, they want to see that video, that's when you send them the video. And remember, we are not sending links in the emails until prospects reply, since it will destroy your deliverability. So you can't just be sending the video right off the bat to the 1,000 people that you're cold emailing, because that will destroy your deliverability. You're only sending that video once people reply back saying that they want to see it. The other point to note as well is the reason why this VSL works so well is because you're giving prospects new insights. I keep on saying this because you have to drill this into your own mind. If you make a video and the prospect watches that video and they walk away without any new insights gained, this will not work. If they watch the video and they decide that you just wasted their own time, this will not work. The reason why is you need to be giving a prospect a new insight, because think about a time that you were trying to learn something that you didn't know. Let's say your car broke down and you asked your neighbor for help. Let's say he was telling you all the different things you need to check. He was explaining to you different parts of a car and how it all works. Because he was teaching you that something you didn't know previously, you automatically positioned your neighbor as an expert in your mind because he knows something that you do not. And that's the exact same reason why you need to be teaching your prospects new insights. Because if you're teaching your prospect, let's say you're selling cold emails as a service. So your VSL is talking about how to build a cold email system into your business. If you are teaching people something about cold emails that they don't previously know about, the second they watch that video and they feel like they're learning something new, you are now positioned as a service in their own mind, positioned as an expert in their own mind. And if they decide to pay someone to work with, they're going to think about you because you are now the automatic expert. So again, right? This process will not work if you are not providing your clients with legitimate value, because the entire premise of this process is we're giving prospects so much value that we become the expert, we become the subject matter expert in their mind. So how do you actually create an effective VSL, right? So to create an effective insight-based VSL, there are a couple aspects to keep in mind. The first is there are two key aspects to your VSL. The first one is the visual presentation, and the second is the spoken presentation. So I've had success presenting the VSL using a bunch of different things, using the Google Docs, using Gamma, which is what you're seeing right now on this specific video, using Notion, using Google Slides, PowerPoint, flowcharts. The point is what you use doesn't make a massive difference as long as the presentation is clear and what you're trying to say doesn't confuse people and it looks professional, right? The next aspect is the spoken presentation. So understand that this is a video sales letter. Keyword, sales letter, right? Meaning there's an aspect of salesmanship involved if you want this to work well. So how you say something is quite literally equally as important as what you actually say. How you look and your first impressions also play a massive role. So as an example, this is how I like to explain to people. If let's say you had a job interview, a virtual job interview on a Zoom call or Google Meets call or Microsoft Teams call, you wouldn't go to that virtual job interview wearing a hoodie with messy bed hair, with your bed, a messy bed in the background with a video game poster in the background as an example. Because if you did, even if you had the right experience that the interviewer were trying to look for in that job, you probably wouldn't get hired because of just the poor first impression that you left. So that's the exact same thing that you want to keep in mind for your video sales letter. Make sure you look presentable, make sure you're professional. Now, in terms of length, I get this question all the time. Make the VSL as long or as short as reasonable, as makes sense. So again, right, you need to be teaching people insights, meaning if your VSL is 3 minutes long or 5 minutes long, or really just under 10 minutes long, there's a very strong chance that you're just not going into enough detail to be giving people new insights. However, I'm not telling you to make your VSL 3 hours long, 2 hours long, 5 hours long, because people will also not watch that. So try to achieve that middle balance where you're giving insights, but you're not making it unnecessarily long. So jumping into the actual VSL structure. So now that we understand kind of the psychology and the theories behind the actual VSL, I'm going to share with you the specific VSL structure that I recommend. And as I go through this, I think a very important point is, even though I have kind of the template over here or the framework here, the structure here, try your best to not just copy this word for word, because if you're watching this video, there's probably going to be someone else who is just kind of lazy and they just copy it word for word. And the other point is you're not going to learn that well if you're just copying it word for word. What you should really be doing is reading this, what I'm sharing with you, or listening to what I'm saying, stopping it and thinking for yourself why it is where it is, why it is said the way it's said, why the specific words are used and in what order, and think about the psychology behind why it is said and how it is said, rather than just taking it word for word. I think the other thing is, because this is a video sales letter, there's a lot of room for creativity, for you to add a bunch of different things, different elements of storytelling, salesmanship, right? So it's not a one size fits all, but if you're first starting out, make sure that you are sticking to the fundamentals, because there's a very strong chance that you don't want to just confuse people by adding a bunch of these random things before you get your point across, right? But again, try your best not to copy this word for word, because that's not the most effective way to learn how to actually do this. Just think about why I'm talking about the things I'm talking about. So the very first thing you want to do is you want to start with a headline. The main thing with the headline is you want to be very specific, because the more specific you can be, the better this VSL will work, because you're calling out and you're talking to a very specific type of avatar, a very specific type of person. How recruitment agencies, so you're very specific in terms of the industry that you're working with, the type of person, how they can sign 3 to 5 clients in the next 9 days. So a specific result by building an automated cold email system. So you're hyper specific. The topic of what the video is, so you wouldn't necessarily say this in your VSL, but it's more so a topic for what you actually want to be talking about, is how a recruitment agency can add cold emails into their business that allows them to generate sales calls on demand and sign clients. That's the topic, even though you wouldn't necessarily have that in the video. I just put it and included it here so that you get a better idea as to what you kind of want to talk about in your video. The first thing you want to do is you want to qualify people, because not every single person who watches this video, not every single person that you reach out to over emails is a good fit for your service and is not someone you can help. So the best way to do it is to qualify people. And this can also make what you're saying way more relevant to the right avatar, to the person that you want to reach out to. So this video is for you if you are boom, 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 boom. If you run a recruitment business, if you want to build an automated cold email system that generates you 5 to 20 sales calls every single month, this is for you. If you have the capacity to sign 3 to 5 new clients in the next 90 days, this is for you. If the vast majority of your sales opportunities and clients come from word of mouth, comes from ads, come from referrals, come from all of these other places. However, this video is not for everyone. We can't help everyone. This is not for you if you do not run a recruitment business in North America. If you run a marketing agency, if you run a gym, if you're a realtor, this is not for you. This is not for you if you do not have the capacity to sign new clients because you just don't have the bandwidth to take on more clients. This is not for you if you don't think cold emails work, if you think cold emails is spamming, if you think it is illegal. This is not for you. So you're qualifying people, right? And this part is very important that you include it. So you just need to include it, because this way you are disqualifying people and it makes your sales process a million times easier. Because for example, what I have found is before I implemented this process, obviously I didn't have the qualifying aspects because I just didn't have the VSL. I would take sales calls and I would pitch them for 45 minutes straight. And at the end, they'll hit me with, well, Jimmy, honestly, I don't think cold emails work. I think it's illegal. I think it's spamming. And I kind of just wasted 45 minutes of my own time pitching to someone who doesn't even believe the vehicle works. So to make sure you're not wasting your own time, make sure you're adding a process to qualify people and disqualify people. Next is a quick, kind of like a quick little elevator pitch as to who you are before you jump into the meat of the VSL. And again, keep it short, keep it brief. Don't have too much of a focus on I am this, I am that, we do this, because people don't care. People only care about how you can help them. So keep it simple. What you could also do is if you're watching this and let's say you've ran another business in the past. Let's say for the purpose of the example, you're pitching recruitment agencies, and let's say you are a recruiter who now wants to build a lead generation agency for recruitment agencies. One thing that you can do to spice it up and make this a million times better is tell a story about how you used to be a recruiter and you worked with a bunch of different clients. You met with a bunch of other people who run recruitment agencies. And the largest problem you came across was that recruitment agencies, they just don't have a consistent way to generate leads, right? So come up with a story if you have one. If, obviously if you don't have experience, then follow this, kind of a quick elevator pitch on who you are. But if you do have relevant experience from other businesses, talk about how you discovered this system. I used to run this SEO agency. And while I was running this SEO agency for the last 7 years, I realized that the number one problem that business owners have is figuring out where the next client and the next customer is coming from. And that's exactly why I decided to help SEO agencies build out a consistent cold email system that brings in consistent sales meetings. So you see how I'm using, I never ran an SEO agency, but you see how I'm pulling previous background experience using storytelling to make what I'm saying just way more relevant, because people remember stories. But obviously, if you're watching this, you don't have any experience, don't come up with an imaginary story, because it wouldn't be very hard for people to search you up and fact check you, right? So don't lie, be transparent, be honest, and that will get you the best results. The next is the meat of the process, which is the step-by-step process. So this is where you're actually giving value and giving insights. The best way to think about this is think about your service, whatever service you're selling. Let's say you're selling cold emails as a service. There are very specific steps, like key steps that you will take once you have a client that will take them from someone who just paid you to someone who you're getting results. Think about what those key 3 to 5 steps are. So for example, if you're selling lead generation as a service, those steps might be the first step might be coming up with the offer. Step 2 might be building the cold email system. Step 3 might be building your leads list. Step 4 might be the cold email campaign setup. And step 5 might be the day-to-day management. Those are the 5 key steps that you will take if you're running a lead generation agency. And those are the 5 steps that you might want to include as part of your step-by-step process. And how you want to explain it is you want to be, again, teaching people and focus on actually giving people value, giving people the sauce. You're providing real value and not high level explanations where people just don't really learn anything. So for example, if you talk about warming up your emails, don't just be like, oh yeah, you need to warm up your emails for 14 days and then you move on to the next thing. Explain what warming is. Explain why it's important. Explain what happens if you don't do it, if someone skips it, because that's how people learn and that's how you give new insights. You can also use illustrations to keep the viewer engaged. What I do in a lot of my VSLs is, let's say I'm teaching people how to scrape leads. I actually jump into a screen share of me on Apollo or me on LinkedIn actually scraping leads. That way it's just way more visual and people just learn way better. And it's just easier to explain. So the way you want to explain your steps, I kind of just ran over it with the warming example, but you obviously want to explain what the step is and how do you actually implement it. What is warming your email accounts and how do you do it? Why is warming important? Warming is important because of XYZ. But what happens is if because you have to warm your emails for 14 days. So what happens is if you're watching this video and you say to themselves, damn, I'm not trying to spend 14 days warming my email accounts. I'm just going to start blasting emails tomorrow. What will happen is all of your emails will just land in spam or land in the junk box. And it doesn't matter if you have the best copy, if you have the best leads list, it doesn't matter. None of those things matter if your emails just don't get opened and don't get read, which is exactly why you need to be making sure you're warming up your email accounts for a minimum of 14 days. So do you see how I just explained that? That's exactly how you want to explain it. And the reason why you're explaining it like that is because, again, right, you're not selling information, you're selling implementation. So as you're explaining this process, even the warming stuff, for example, because you're explaining what happens, you're explaining what the step is, how to do it, and what happens if someone skips it, what your prospects will think about, especially if they're business owners where time is of the essence and they're making money, they have more cash than time, they're gonna start thinking to themselves, well, this sounds like a lot of work. This sounds very hard. This sounds like it will just take many hours of my busy schedule that I don't have. I'd rather just pay someone a few $1,000s to do this for me and get the specific result without me needing to spend 30 hours myself doing it. That's what the business owners will be thinking, or exactly that's what the business owners that you want to be working with will be thinking. And you will be calling that out. So at the end, as you transition to your call to action, how you want to talk about your VSL is you're going to say something along the lines of, so that's about it. If you watch this entire video and implement everything that I shared with you here, you will be able to build a cold email system that will get you boom, 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 boom results. However, building this process, it might take you 20, it might take you 30 hours upfront. And even once you have it built out, you still need to test your copy, you still need to split test it, try different offers, all of that stuff. Meaning you might go the next 6 months, you might go the next year, maybe even longer, just testing different things, hoping that you crack the code and hoping that you get results. Or you could work with us where we could build out the entire system for you, completely done for you, meaning you don't have to lift a finger. And the only thing you need to worry about is taking the sales calls that we generate for you onto your calendar. We build out the whole system, blah, 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 blah. All of it will just work from day one. So do you see how I'm positioning what the business owners are already thinking psychologically in their own minds, and you are calling that out and positioning your service as, we will help you save time, we'll make sure this works, we'll just do everything for you so you don't have to do it yourself, right? That is exactly how you want to sell your service, and that's exactly how you create an effective VSL. If you have case studies, this is where you put it, but if you're watching this video, you don't have case studies, just ignore this part. You could talk a little bit about yourself and the results you've gotten for yourself. Maybe you could put some KPIs, some numbers as to if you send 1,000 emails, this is what you can expect in terms of open rates, reply rates, book meetings, and clients, yada, yada, yada. Finally is the call to action. Again, right, the purpose of the VSL is you're not just leaving people hanging. You want to direct the attention that you're generating to a very specific next step. For the vast majority of people watching this video, your next step is going to be booking a sales call with you or with your salesperson. You want to just call it out. So if you are interested in getting XYZ result, if you're interested in building a cold email system that will get you blah, 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 then I attached a link to my calendar in the link below. Or if I'm emailing this to you and you're seeing this from an email, reply back to my email and I'll send you over a calendar and we'll set up a time to chat over the next few days, right? Thanks for watching. Something along those lines. So that's the call to action. So hopefully by now at the end of this video, you see how this VSL works. Now, again, like I said earlier, just right at the start, the structure, even though I'm giving you the framework and the structure, the best type of VSLs I have ever seen the people that I work with, even my own VSLs that work the best, it follows a lot of these principles. It doesn't follow the exact same like word for word. It might not include everything that I talked about here, but includes parts of it. And the things I'm talking about is the same psychologically. So try your best not to copy this word for word. Try to think about how it works and why it works, and add your own process into it. Add your own creativity into it. But that's about it for today's video. Hope you found this video valuable. By now, if you implement all of this stuff, you should be able to create a VSL. This process will probably take you a little while, especially if you've never done this before, like planning out the VSL and actually filming it, especially if you've never filmed on camera before or you're not that comfortable talking on camera. You might take multiple tries, right? But just go at it, see how it goes, and remember that even in the beginning, having an imperfect VSL or imperfect process is still better than not having it at all. So I hope you found this video valuable, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.